But she had been shocked by what her newly discovered half-sister had to tell her. Well, shocked and initially repulsed by Brooke's view of the circumstances of her birth. But then, slowly, she had come to understand Brooke's feelings of betrayal and had forgiven her sister for her offensive wording. "Your mother was the slut who almost broke up my parents' happy marriage," Brooke had told her sharply. To be fair to Brooke, Millie's mother had been the other woman who slept with a married man, inflicting considerable suffering on that man's innocent wife and child. Brooke and Millie's father, William Jackson, a wealthy wine importer, had had a long-running affair with a model called Natalia Taylor and had threatened to leave his wife over her. Sadly, a heart attack had taken William's life when Brooke was 15 and Millie was 9. Natalia had died in a bus crash only a couple of years later, and Millie had ended up in council care, where she had remained until she reached 18. At first meeting, both young women had been taken aback by the likeness between them, for they had both inherited their father's white blonde curly hair and dark blue eyes. Millie, however, had had a large bump in her nose, and somehow the features that made Brooke a stunning beauty had blurred in Millie's case, putting her into the pretty rather than beautiful category. It had been Brooke's idea that she could use Millie as a stand-in either to avoid an event she considered boring or, more frequently, to mislead the paparazzi that dogged her footsteps and who occasionally followed her places where she didn't want to be seen or photographed her with individuals whom she didn't wish to be seen with. Brooke was obsessed with airbrushing and controlling the public image she wanted to show the world. In the same way, she had pointed out that Millie couldn't help her, unless she was prepared to go that extra mile and have her nose done so that it mirrored Brooke's far more elegant nose. At first, Millie had said a very firm no to that idea, not because she was fond of her less-than-perfect nose, but just because it was hers, and she was accustomed to her own flaws. Brooke had had a huge row with her over her refusal, and Millie had been devastated when her half-sister had cut off all contact with her. When Brooke had called her again 6 weeks later, Millie had been so grateful to hear from her that she had agreed to the surgical procedure, and before she could change her mind, she had been whisked into a private clinic, and her nose had been skillfully enhanced to resemble Brooke's. Once that had been achieved, expert makeup had completed her transformation. The first time Millie had pretended to be Brooke to enable her sister to evade a boring charity event, she had been terrified, even dressed in her sister's clothes and made up to look like her. But nobody had suspected a thing, and for the first time in her life, Millie had felt like an achiever. Brooke's gratitude had made her feel wonderfully warm inside, and the second time, when Millie had had to simply step out of a limousine and walk into a shop while Brooke was many miles away, she had felt even better. She had discovered that it was fun to dress up in expensive clothes and pretend to be someone she was not, and there had been very little fun in Millie's life before Brooke entered it. And with Brooke in her current predicament, struggling to deal with her broken marriage, Millie knew that she should definitely go that extra mile for her sister. "Where will you be while I sit in this hotel?" she asked curiously. "Having a very discreet little holiday, so I'll need your passport," Brooke advanced. "I daren't travel on my own." And Millie frowned at that reference to her passport, but could only smile at the mention of a holiday. A holiday was exactly what her poor sister needed at this stressful time in her life, and if Millie room-sitting in some fancy hotel was all that was required, it would be utterly selfish of her to refuse to help. "Okay, I'll do it. You can only bring one small bag with you. I've packed a case for you, and you can change into my clothes in the car," Brooke informed her. "I'll do your makeup in the car, too. I'm better at it than you are." After Brooke had arranged to pick her up, Millie straightened her hair and threw her passport, fresh underwear, a couple of books, and a range of craft items into a bag before heading out. It was a filthy wet day, and she didn't step out onto the pavement until she had her umbrella up to protect her hair, for Brooke's hair was always a